Hello everybody, my name is Troublmaker, this is Wargame AirLand Battle. And last time I checked, I added 250 subscribers in the last 2 weeks. Welcome guys to the channel, welcome to the community, and welcome to the face of Wargame Esports. Now for people newer to the game, this is going to be a 1v1, which is rare, very rare in Wargame AirLand Battle. It's very much a team game, and the size of the map here is very large. This course is Karlstad, and generally when you're playing teams, you play this as a 3v3 usually, and you'd have one person do hotel, because hotel has a direct path into the main base, which is a 1-point base. You also have to protect Charlie and India, because once again, there's a nice direct path here into the main base. So that leaves all this territory over here, which is all the money territory, basically, that you'll have to accomplish. And generally, you'll want to grab this Alpha base here, and on this side, this Lima base, just because they're 3-point bases, and it's all about getting that bleed happening. And so you end up having to do a lot of management on this particular map. There's a lot of really kooky, weird stuff that people have to worry about. Like this position here is really kooky and weird. You could run a recon across here, move them up this mountain, and then you have a nice little position to kind of get good recon information or snipe vehicles. It's also a good place for staging AA. Very kooky place that is. But there's nothing similar over here, unfortunately. So every single Wargame AirLand Battle map is going to have minor imbalances, but they're ones that both sides have to deal with, basically. One big one on this map that is worth noting. When you look on this map, you'll note bridge here, bridge here. So if you were reinforcing from Charlie, you can easily get across these two bridges. However, for India, there's only one bridge. It's invisible currently, apparently. But yes, it's right here. This is the one bridge from India. Maybe still have some mods on. There's this one at the bottom that will lead you into Kilo, but it's really a long about way of doing it compared to these ones, which are, you know, decently close. So it's a minor thing. You have to cross two bridges here to get across to this area here. But the match is begun. This, of course, is a beta key match. I haven't mentioned yet, in the blue is a random from the WTF clan, and his opponent is actually Maxiking117. Maxiking117 was one of the top 62 or 66. I think it was top 66 1 year and 2 months ago at the Wargame Cup. He did absolutely phenomenally, and I think he got kicked out in the round of 16 or something along those lines. And he made his way into the early access VIP beta for Wargame AirLand Battle. So now he's trying to win his chance into the Red Dragon, which won't be as selective, of course. It's going to have 500 people in it. So very different experience. Now, as I said, this is a very important flank. This one also very important. In the least, you have to defend them. This tornado has been trying to move around, pick off some targets, but there's not really a ton of air units for it to pick off. And it's running straight into a Shivka, which won't do too much damage to the... Or sorry, that's the Tunguska. The Tunguska rockets off there on the move, of course. And these Gazelle cannons are laying down some fire on these Shallows, which are on the retreat, doing a little bit of fire. The Shallow used to be a very popular unit, especially in European escalation. It's fallen in popularity in AirLand Battle because they've maneuvered vehicles around so that there are better choices. But they do have a nice light anti-tank weapon that can deal with a lot of vehicles very effectively. But having said that, losing them will not help. Prizik Igla here has been deployed to the front, will try to pick off some of these helicopters. There is a Tunguska in the back, which he's also moving up. And this looks like we have a flank established for Maxiking here in Hotel, which, you know, random has placed a spotter, just to make sure that things crazy don't happen. And then there's this flank. Now, I should note right here, this is kind of neat. There's an edge here. Whenever you see this weird kind of shading, this is an edge that is invisible. So, you know, vehicles won't be able to cross this. They can cross the road, but they can't cross this. If this area here will be completely invisible until they enter this point here. So these Mountaineers who have Dragon 2 Saclos, which has a pretty decent range of 1575, will hit every single unit that comes out of here as it comes out. So that's worth noting on this particular map. There isn't something as similar over here. This is not the same kind of situation. But it's something that you can abuse. Random very much knows this map, has competed on this map quite a bit, and has only a single squad of Mountaineers to cover for that. He also has is that a vehicle here? Yes, a vehicle, so not too much. Abrams coming out. Here comes some side shots from the Conquerors. This could be devastating. Now, side shots will do crits, and oh my god, 2 hit points left on this Abrams. Probably going to go down. Conquerors, fire goes. And we're going to see, yes, in fact, the Abrams will go down. So Maxiking picking up a pretty early unit lead by getting rid of that unit. And Random, on the other hand, is playing the map. He's playing the points. He's got a 3-point base. He's got his 1-point base. And now he's going for this 1-point base. Whereas Maxiking still doesn't have this 3-point base. And I can't stress enough. It's more important to grab this 3-point base here than it is to grab this reinforcement point. I mean, he has this reinforcement point, yet he's still, early game, reinforcing from Juliet. It's just complete nonsense, complete foolishness. And Centurion Mark 5 now coming in. Now, this is a super, super cheap armored unit. 15 points is pretty damn cheap. And he's just using this to soak a little bit of damage, but he doesn't actually have his AT in position to actually fire. A lot of units coming in. This SU 12254s, Shalos, getting rid of some vehicles here, and the T-64 BM, which is one of the better tanks in the game. Period. And yeah, Maxiking is doing pretty good now. He is, however, massively bleeding out here. He does have some pretty good position on the map, but he doesn't actually have commands in the bases he needs them in right now. Once he gets 3 and 1, he will be in the lead. But will it be fast enough? That's the big question here. Getting commands out is very, very expensive, but you need to do it on this map. Now, in terms of problems for Maxiking's play, he's got a few. One, he's rallying this command into the hotel base. There's a 2-point India base here that he could be taken. He also, obviously didn't get the Lima right away, so that's hurting him. And Random is +5ing it up right now. Skyhawks came down, picking off some modal Strelkys. The Skyhawk has a particular type of gun on it that will fire very quickly, and they escape very quickly. Very, very good turning radius on them. What Maxiking is doing here is just throwing away these vehicles. Because they are 1-point vehicles that have no guns, no ammunition, and just run out of fuel. So he's just trying to waste ammunition here, and specifically he wants to get rid of these ATGMs, which he soaked up 1 of those. He got 1 heat, and actually he's got about 4 of these rockets gone. Sometimes has a big effect, not always. More Skyhawks being reined in by Random. The Skyhawk has been a very, very popular air unit in the game. It's very, very potent, effective. It has a very, very fast reload time because it has such a ridiculously low number of armaments, and can be used for picking off like small targets like planes, infantry, vehicles. Not so hot against big tanks, but definitely worth using on cooldown every single time. And these Skyhawks deployed not for any specific target, just to pick anything off, and will get these VDVs. Not getting the VDVs, the BGSs. Or BG5s, unfortunately, or maybe that's BGSs. We'll have to do something else to survive here. Random is actually taking this 2-point base, which is very, very ballsy. He has a single AMX 30 Roland covering the anti-air, but here comes a Hind, a Mi-24D, doing a little bit of helicopter jousting, which is more common than you would think. And he's about to fly right over the command, which is being moved. And will he spot? Yes, he does. He's right-clicking right on it and gets it. Perfect. Maxiking playing phenomenally right now. He's getting at that extra command. He wants to get this Gulf base, no doubt. And he's got a command going towards India, so he's looking very, very healthy. Now, this Gulf base is going to be problematic because there isn't actually an army here for Maxiking just yet. Unfortunately, this is a bit of a gamble, and there's a Fernspeyer here spotting. So that's going to be kind of problematic, specifically because of these Skyhawks here, which are now using their anti-air cannon, which they do have one, that Twin Colt. Not too shabby, not too great. Can deal with some helicopters coming out. And here comes another command here from Random. So he's going to try and re-grab that Delta and stop the bleeding. Bleeding is the process of losing points in conquest mode. You bleed when you have less points on the map in total than your opponent. And currently that advantage is going to random, but that changes right now. Maxiking does take that point. And, wow, these VDVs have been very, very good, but here comes a Genie to Combat, an anti-infantry napalm unit. Should be able to deal with these VDVs without even using the napalm, actually. And no doubt will use the napalm. It's a lot of work to turn that thing off, and not even going to fortify. May actually use napalm. I might be wrong here. Let's see. The napalm unit in the back is kind of charging up. Did he just look up in the sky while firing? I think he did. Yep, here comes the grenades, the grenados, and this is a pretty dry combat, actually. Genie to Combat, they had their napalm turned off, and looks like they are going to pay the piper for that one. This C1 submachine gun, not quite as good as you'd think it is, I guess. And actually probably mostly going to get wiped out. Pretty brutal. A little bit of a dance here. All right. Can the VD... Yes, finally, VDVs are dead. Command, all the while, is engulfed. There's a Genie to Combat and a Grizzly here in position. This UAZ should be spotted. Yes, it is from the random vision. And, yeah, here comes a Tornado and some Skyhawks. They know it's here. They're coming for it. This is one of the earliest complaints about Conquest, that it's all about command sniping, and in this particular case it looks like it will. We have Prizik Igla moving into position here to try and deal with some anti-air, but unfortunately he needs to have some planes here just to kind of chase at these Skyhawks. The Skyhawks, of course, have a very, very fast reload time, and cheap infantry are just something that loses out pretty fast on Skyhawks. As you blow munitions trying to take them out, you have less rockets available. And this Prizik Igla not unloading. Here comes the Skyhawks looking to aim down these Revedkas. Is this it? Oh my god, actually gets the Prizik Iglas instead. And we'll get 2 vehicles full of infantry. So that was a pretty good Skyhawk attack. And here comes another one spinning around. What's he going to go for? Is he going to go for that Revedka? Oh yeah. And this is just the how random plays. He sees a high value in information and recon, and he swiped that Revedka so that he could maintain his control of vision here, of which he has good vision. I mean, he doesn't see that command anymore, but he has a good idea of what's going on here, what's showing up. Genie Combat here being powered down by these Su-122s have a very potent anti-infantry cannon on them. And Maxiking still in the lead with a +1 bleed. That shouldn't last too long. Position's pretty good for random. You could probably grab this Foxtrot and stop the bleed. Keep in mind, random is massively ahead right now in points. 271 points compared to Maxiking's +1 advantage, currently only getting him at 30 points. And these Skyhawks are going to be absolutely brutal to deal with. Here comes another one. These Su-122s are the kind of vehicle that could die to a Skyhawk. Absolutely. And Shazam! It gets a stun, half a hit point, or sorry, half a vehicle killed there. And it's actually looking like random's having problems dealing with this very powerful Ruski push. In fact, 3 Osas being rallied out here as anti-air units. They're 20 points. They're very cheap. They're very cost effective. The Skyhawk is 40 points. So if you can get a Skyhawk kill with less than 8 rockets, this will have all been worthwhile. So here we go. Oh my god, 1 hits on it, and he actually gets the kill. So definitely paid off. But there's only a few hit points left. It was literally the fairest trade possible. And here comes more Skyhawks going for those Osas, no doubt. Furnace Sprayer finally spotted. This great position by Random. Finally spotted. Revedka, of all things, spotting with the BTR-60PB coming into support. And Skyhawk goes in to finish off the Osa. Oh my god, 1 hit point left. Maxiking going to try and get that to a nice shaded area. These forests do provide cover, provide basic invisibility. And yeah, looking pretty good for Maxiking right now. This position at Hotel has been paying off very well for him. He's got a Revedka in the woods here to look for any kind of incoming units. The Mountaineers are preventing any units from moving out. If he wants to move out, he will need to bring an infantry squad along the back here and pick this off. And yeah, this Foxtrot base is currently going to Maxiking with very, very low forces able to contest this. The Furnace Sprayer proving to be too much of a challenge, though. Actually able to pick off that entire Revedka squad and the the BTR 60 PV. A Modal Strelki squad will be more than it can handle, though, easily. Specifically with these Su-122s, as well as other BGS squad also picked off. So all the eyes of Random are gone now. He's back to the drawing board right now. He's got good air dominance. That's something he's been playing his strengths to. He's been using these Skyhawks pretty well on cooldown to try and pick off vehicles. These tornadoes, unfortunately, have not been terribly useful because Maxiking has been playing in a game style that is basically without air. He's been using a lot of anti-air units. He's been using ground-based forces to push the ground, and this is a style that we've seen on this channel before. This is the style that Tiga introduced and used in the ESL when him and Firestarter won. I'm tempted to say like week 3. There was 10 weeks of it, and he won one of them. It was also the only one that he competed in, of course. But yeah, we've seen this airplane-less style. Ooh, that's such a good position right here. Anything that comes across this way or this way will get picked off by this SU-122. There's also a helicopter here. Doesn't look like bait. A lot of times you'll put a recon helicopter out in the open just so that their airplanes will come in and you can pick them off. Now here comes an Abrams moving into close range. Abrams have ridiculously good armor, and these SU-122s have a pretty terrible gun. They will only be able to do 1 hit point of damage per shot, given the armor differences, given the cannon differences. And so this Abrams is going to be able to just dominate them very, very easily. So far, only misses for these guys. Abrams winding up his cannon. Going to try and get another shot, and almost 1 hit every single time. Now there is a T-80A coming in. The T-80A is going to be actually very, very threatening. It's got those reflex rockets on it, so it can deal the damage very, very far range. And without him even knowing about it, here comes a T-80A reflex rocket. Here we go. Miss. It's only got 2 more of those left. Here comes for the reload. The Abrams, of course, is pulling out. Now these things are SALH, which means they will track within the vision, much like the Saklos. And once they fall out of vision, they won't track that target anymore. So you actually, if you don't have vision of the Abrams, you should quickly cancel it off before it fires. Specifically, if it's moving back into the wooded area, and that looks like what Maxiking did here. Of course, random, he usually partners off with Hunter. And not particularly vetted in 1v1 play. So he's struggling a lot here. Now we're seeing our first air unit here from Maxiking. It's going to be a MiG-23 MLD. I call them the Milos, and this one is infrared, which means that it cannot be tracked by anti-radar weaponry. And it also means that it is a fairly close-range fighter pilot type. And I think he was trying to get this Dornier, but he just couldn't spot it. Probably going to use his air units a little more strategically and a little less about gaining control of the air. He's probably going to use them to try and just pick off units here and there, pick off helicopters there and whatnot. And this French player might find a pretty good surprise here. The Kilo base is basically undefended, a little bit greedy. You always want to put, a single Motos Tsureliki here of some sort. BGS has been spotted. T-80A and SU-122 going to try and take that out. Pretty good shot there by the BGS with this blind aside rocket actually doing significant damage to the SU-122. One of them will go down. Now, there are some Centurions out here which will support this Abrams quite well. The Centurion is basically like your cheap tank. It's, it's got 8 armor. It's 15 points. That's pretty damn good. Now, the T-80A's got 18 armor, and there's actually not many guns in the game that actually pierce through their armor. You need a lot more potent rocket base, and you see one rocket shot here took 3 points off this Abrams. All the reflex rockets, of course, are gone now, so he's having to move into position with his main gun and try and do a little bit of damage, but nope, push back. He will try and grab a position potentially in these forested areas for a snake. And here comes the Raven. Raven is an anti-radar fighter, and very commonly what you'll do is you'll fly your anti-radar fighters over top the enemy, and the second that one of these OSAs starts aiming, the anti-radar will pick it up and then it'll fire and kill it. Super high level, super skillful play. Players will turn off their radar-based anti-air weapons and only turn them on when the anti-radar fighter is retreating. It's weird, it's wonky, That's the world we live in. Grizzly will stop the bleed, however, and this is a pretty big deal. Random has 140 points ahead, and without this constant stream of forces here, or sorry, constant stream of points here, Maxiking will not be given the opportunity to come back. Looks like the squad that was coming down here, this Furnish Bear, was in fact taken out. Revetka in a very good spotting position, and you can kind of see, like, he even sees that Hornet there, so he can bring out his Milo, his MiG-23 Milo, and potentially hit it. So yeah, we have a little bit of a lull in the action here. You know, it's a good time to note some of the big differences. There's an FOB here. It's completely full. There's no FOB here. He's using entirely supply trucks to resupply everything. So for Maxiking, given that 22 minutes left and he has a completely full FOB, it might be worthwhile rallying out a lot of artillery units and trying to aim down anti-air, like this Roland infantry, like these Mountaineers, these ATGM squads, and you know, any kind of loose vehicles. Supply trucks are going to be very, very valuable for random. If you can kill some, that's amazing. Mountaineers going a bit too far. BMP3 is there for the rescue. Has really, really good everything. Really common high-level rush is to rally out like 9 of these things with infantry in them. Dump the infantry and then rush with the empty BMP3s. They do ridiculous amounts of damage, and you get those infantries on top of everything else. ATGM will pick off a vehicle, but is now completely empty of ATGMs. So Random is in a little bit of trouble. His only advantage here is the fact that he has Foxtrot right now, and the early points lead is doing a lot. These BMP3s are just piling through these forces, though. Abrams coming up, takes a pretty big hit. I mean, it's really hard to overstate how powerful this vehicle is. Abrams now going to fire. 1 hit point left on the Abrams, and this is going to come down to it. The BMP3 fully vetted. It's going to have ridiculous amounts of accuracy. Here comes the fire shot. Will it do the damage? Oh my god. The embarrassment. An Abrams dying to a BMP3. And here comes a Hornet. You know, Random's playing an air superiority game. So he's got the Hornet and the Tornado out to help the Skyhawk. And here comes the Skyhawk. Will it be able to get that BMP3? No. It's going for a random shot at a vehicle. And Osa's coming in. Hornet flying over. Milo hits the Hornet. There's an evac, but the Milo can turn around. He's got a good turning radius. And will he get it? Just barely misses. And the MLO MiG-23 will escape. MiG-23 is possibly the most popular of the variants of MiGs that you will see pack players use. It's cheap enough that if you lose it, who cares? It's good enough to kill stuff. And this map is pretty damn split even now. Honus, of course, is on Maxiking. He still has 20 minutes. And it's, you know, it's slow and steady. Kind of wins the race. He's going to get, with a +1 blade, 20 points every minute. So if he was to knock out Foxtrot, he would get to the victory after 7 minutes. If he can cap it, 3.5 minutes. Now keep in mind, if this clock here on the top right falls below the 10-minute marker, it becomes very, very much impossible for Maxiking to win this, just because you have to count in the rally. There's a minute or two rally. You're not going to rally out a command waiting to take this position. Now there are some things he can do. Very good focused artillery here that he can do that a lot of WTF players like to do. One is come in and neutralize this point. Put a command here and smoke. Basically what WTF do is they have some artillery units and they just constantly smoke out a corner. It indicates to the enemy where the command is, but it hides it from sight. So it forces the enemy to come in with a lot of bombers. Now this works really well if you have a lot of anti-air units. But if you don't have a ton, it's not going to work so hot. And right now all these vehicles are just getting showered on by artillery fire. And this is basically what Maxiking needs to do, because he has this full FOB. It can be expensive stuff like rockets too. Just deal lots of damage, powder the enemy with artillery shells and try and get rid of some of these infantry numbers. He can deal with the tanks. He has a T-80A, he has a T-80U, he has T-64s, he has SU-120. He has tons of stuff to deal with Abrams, including these shallow tank prototypes. But what he doesn't have is something to deal with the ridiculous amounts of infantry and recon and all that stuff. He would do very well with artillery right now. There's not many people or many situations in which artillery are a good answer, but having a few mortars do damage works. And you can see with random, like he's only got like one mortar and it's destroying vehicles left and right. Now we're going to see if the Raven can pick up anything. Oh, sorry, he's got 4 mortars actually, which are just stomping on these vehicles. Now, like I said, some people like to fly it over top, try to pick off some that way. Others like to stay back. They do have a ridiculous range, so there's not really a need to fly over top. But the flying over top is basically, if you know he doesn't have a ton of anti-air units, you can pick them up, pick 1 or 2 off. It's very, very easy to do. You just kind of weave through all the way. And you always assume that there's not a lot of anti-air in the back. So if you pass through, you don't turn around on the spot. You just fly overhead, like straight path. There will be another OSA coming up though. Raven running out of fuel and will retreat again. But like I said, a lot of people also like to do this. Just fly it around in a circle. Because circles are fun. They're relatively fun. Spetsnaz's in a pretty damn good position. You're going to spot every single unit rallying out here. It's 4 Centurions. Hard to say exactly what he plans for these. This could be for defensive purposes. When you get desperate, you do crazy things, and a rush through hotel is very, very scary. Very scary. MiG-23 MLO. Sorry, is that a D? Yeah, it's a MLD, actually. I need to get my eyes checked. Seriously. I can't tell the difference between D's and O's anymore. I guess that's an O right there on the OSA. But yeah, looks like a pretty strong stalemate. Now it's pretty clear that Maxiking is stacking tanks. When you're doing an all-in, you kind of want to stack in one direction. If you go for a helicopter all-in, you're hoping that the enemy doesn't have a lot of anti-air. If you're going for a tank all-in, you're hoping he doesn't have a lot of anti-tank. If you're going for an infantry rush, you hope he doesn't have pretty much anything of value. But the tank rushes can be pretty potent, and they're good because you can also use tanks to be hyper defensive. But you can see very large flank. This is basically a 1v1 with 2 professional players. Very good spread of units all over the map, covering every single particular situation, vision as much as humanly possible. And the random cam is pretty good. He's got the middle and he's got this shallow. And Maxiking's is not too bad, but only actually has vehicles and a single command here. It's really scary running into these kind of situations. But we're getting pretty close to the point of no return for Maxiking. He's going to have to make a move pretty soon. So we're going to go ahead and speed up because I forgot I'm casting by myself and I can do that. Looks like these Centurions are in fact going to try and secure the middle. Revedka actually getting picked off here by an Abrams. And Leopard 2 coming out and a second Grizzly now. The second Grizzly thing is basically twofold. One, it's an extra command so that if they do knock out the primary command, this one takes over and you don't lose any points. The second use for it is that when you actually do have a place where you can put this command, hey, we have a command here. Now this particular way of playing is only valuable when you have primarily defensive units like these. But this could also be an all-out push. Leopard 2 and Abrams coming in. These aren't defensive units at all. And U.S. Marines are moving forward. This is a push. Now, of course, Random doesn't need to do this. He doesn't need to put on the pressure, but he is. Leopard 2 is very heavily armored. One rocket took off 4 hit points. Here comes another round of rockets from the Conquerors, which are almost out of ammunition, and misses, unfortunately. Centurion's going to come in from the side, pick off both vehicles down. There's a Motul Strelki here, 30 of them, in fact, which is 3 squads. And this is a fire position command, in case you're wondering what's going on here. They don't realize, of course, that there's anything missing, something missing there. And here comes a command in here to neutralize this point. Now, this is a pretty ballsy move, considering that he should be on the retreat. He should be falling back, but not this guy. WTF do enjoy the pushing. They do play strong, and this is a big push. Modal Shulky going to get wiped out pretty easily. This point has been neutralized. Here comes the big fear, though. Those planes. He does have a single roll in here support. Where are the planes? Where's the counter push? Yak 38's coming in here, doing some pretty nice napalm damage on top of the command. Milan should go down. ATGM's barely surviving that. Centurions will survive. Grizzly's going to move out of there. But it's a little bit late. The Abrams have grabbed position. Like I said, this is a great position. These side shots would not normally do damage. But because it's a side shot, it does. That didn't make sense. If it was a front shot, it wouldn't do damage. But because it's a side shot, it does. T-64 goes down without a fight. There are some shallows moving up here. And like I said, they do have that light anti-tank gun. So they will do 1 hit point of damage against every Abrams. Same thing with these Su-122s. Light anti-tank gun. And this is getting pretty bad. Here comes the Su-25 going in for another gun run here. Trying to snipe what they can. Gets one Centurion. Gets the other one. And Yak 38 are going to move to this northern flank. It might be time for Maxiking to do something crazy. He's going to go ahead and try and bomb these ATGMs. Now, I said that this is a planeless strategy. And Tiga did this as well. Late in the game, you bring out your planes. Because here's the kind of philosophy. Here's the strategy. You're going to bring out HE bombers and napalm bombers. HE bombers and napalm bombers don't do well against one unit. They do well against a lot of units. So you use them in places where you think there will be sparsely, densely populated people. The best time for this is either at the beginning of the game, when you have all of your units together, or at the end of the game, when you will have, 4 times as many units as you had in the first place. And that's the strategy, but it does actually work. Unfortunately for Maxiking, he might be running out of time. We have Su-122, 54 moving in here. The Abrams actually pulling back. The U.S. Marines will be defending this position. We have a rock on the T-80U. Oh my god, Hornet came with a gun run. Hornet has killed the T-80U. Dear god, that's going to ruin the day of Maxiking. He needed that T-80U for this push. T-64 now moving in. He's only got 2 minutes. 2 minutes and he loses everything. And T-64 might not be enough. There's 2 Abrams here. There's an AT Milan squad here. There's a BGS spotting for them. Now there's a Seahawk coming in, which has those nice Hellfire rockets, which, are pretty average. But still, they will add a decent amount of hits. Shallows now coming in against these U.S. Marines, getting some pot shots off. Here comes a Gazelle. Physic Igla knocks it from the ground, along with Osas and Tunguskas. Lots of anti-air units the Shallows continue firing on. Moving down the southern flank here, the T-64 has in fact been cleared up. Conkers are moving up. Spetsnaz moving along the side flank here. Have been spotted, however. Conkers go down to a single shot. This is not going well. Random now +2. He's now +2 somehow. Where is he +2 from? Dear God, Yak coming in again. Here comes the bombing run. Going to try and get this command here. Gets a stun and gets napalm on 2 different locations I could have potentially been in. And it's going to drain out. It might actually go down here. Now, where is he getting +2 from? Because he's... No, it didn't make sense. It made no sense why he had +2, but that is basically the event that has ruined Maxiking's chance of getting a beta key. Now, I should note, now the match is basically officially over, that does mean that he might not get one. In the last beta VIP, which was a year ago, it was awesome, by the way. Ugh, so much fun. They actually didn't have enough winners. They had the Wargame Cup 66. They had invited a few clans, which was like 60 or 70 people. They invited, they had a contest in which they gave away 20 or 30 keys. But then they had like a ridiculous number of keys left over. And not enough people actually beat the WTF clan, who, like I said, they're a really good clan. They do very well. So they actually gave out keys to what they would call VIPs for that little act. These were people who just performed very, very well. Ooh, Abrams kill. And Maxiking does have a shot. He has been performing very, very well here. He's not been playing like a scrub. Because a scrub ain't got no love for me. He has been playing pretty well. And I think for him right now, he's just kind of deciding, like, am I done? And he's losing this T-80A pretty helplessly to this Milan. One more good shot will destroy a T-80A. Oh my god, the misery. And, yeah. These last 6 minutes, of course, don't actually matter. The game is officially over. So yeah, even if you don't think you're gonna win, you might as well try because they might reward you a beta key in the end for just trying. Having said that, beta key should be sometime, or beta should be sometime next week. Here comes the, oh yeah, this is it. This is what I was talking about earlier. Beta is next week, by the way, sometime next week. No official announcement, but you know it's coming. This is what I was talking about. The WTF famous smoke. They smoke a corner. They put a command in here. It's really smart. None of this stuff can target that command. And they just continue smoking it. Look, all separated. And he's targeting various locations to try and keep that smoke up. And he just wants to expand that smoke. The BMP3 is moving in, getting a vision of this cargo vehicle here, but not the actual command. Roland, and here's the problem though. This is the one wonky problem with it all. It actually gives you a spot position. Now, he did move the Grizzly in time, but he can move back in, obviously. There is an ATGM here, but it's blocked by smoke. It's a really wonky strategy because, yeah, it hurts you as much as it helps you. It does give you those extra points, but dear God. So he's going to try and defend this push against his little command and then move it back in. Somebody's got to tell these guys that this match is actually over. I'm very interested to see how many kills this ATGM here has. So we'll be keeping an eye on that. It's probably something really high because that one has been resupplied with 2 or 3 supply trucks. So yeah, this my name is Troublemaker. I do casts all the time, and I'll be continuing to do this in Red Dragon. If you enjoyed this, make sure to subscribe to my channel for some other recommendations. If you're brand new, Vulcan HD gives very good, very good rundowns of the game. I would highly recommend him. And Rangru, of course, is a co-caster of mine, also doing that sort of stuff. And if you're really interested in modding and mods, I would recommend subscribing to NovaWing24, who does a special with me on modding. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you guys next week with another game.